Alrighty, we're going to take a look at Oxygen versus Chili Mountain Game 3 now. I have the draft on the screen right here. Cascon, you have the DMs. You can take a look at it. I'm going to see my notes if we can talk about Game 3 here. Hammer banned again. Okay.
What, Nick is known for his hammer?
Nick just not allowed to play Hammer. TLV ban also. This is something that I think SL players don't have the fear of God put into them when it comes to TLV on Terror. Oh my god, on Towers? TLV on Towers is a pain in the ass to play against. I banned it in SL just because I don't want to play it, because it's so boring. Oh my god, like, against it.
If you play against a good TLV player, you will never want to play against them again, ever on this map.
TLV on Towers of Doom are simultaneously, they enable a very strong 4-man from their team to just pressure the absolute out of bot lane, and at the same time, they can also pressure the captures. So a team can simultaneously pressure all 3 altars while also having a 4-man somewhere. So TLV is just so insane on this map. I perfectly get why they would want to take it away. And this draft in particular, this game was goofy. Watching this game actually play out, you're about to see what I'm talking about here, guys. But I want to talk a little bit about how I think Oxygen's draft actually shakes out this game, okay? I think that there's a very specific identity here on the side of Oxygen in this draft, okay? We have Blaze, a tank that can help to protect his teammates and keep them alive, all right? Here's how this is going to go. Blaze is here to stop Nick from inting on Cassia. Bad Benny on Tyrael is also here to stop Nick from inting on Cassia. And Anduin here is also here to stop Nick from inting on Cassia. And Hasu on the Hanzo is here to be so long range that he doesn't need any saving, so his teammates can focus on saving Nick on Cassia.
Well, while I do agree with the sentiment, I think a better way to phrase it is they allow Nick to int on Cassia.
Yes, and to be clear, I'm not flaming Nick here. This is the strategy, okay? This is legitimately the strategy. You are going to see in this game, over and over again, Nick is going to have the most insane aggro positioning on Cassia. CM is going to try to kill him, and they just can't do it. They just can't do it because his whole team is built around keeping him alive. They enable a high level of aggression. Obviously, I don't really mean Nick is inting, and Cascon phrased it much better than I did. But of course, I don't mean literally they're trying to prevent their bad teammate from dying. But this is a team comp literally just built around the idea of enabling Nick to play mega aggro on Cassia. Hasu is just going to not be, he's not going to demand a lot of attention. He's just going to
be there, just chilling and vibing, and everyone else can focus on the Cassia.
Hanzo is a hero that can play very back in fights, so he doesn't need a lot of help, and he can also anchor lanes by himself, so everybody else can just focus on enabling Nick. Now let's go in and watch this game, and you're going to see exactly what I'm talking about from start to finish. It's literally just Nick is mega far forward, doesn't die, Oxygen wins the fight constantly, the entire time. Alrighty, let me see here. Whoops, I still have this. There we go. Look at my game notes right here. You're going to notice Blaze and Maiev are going to do a little bit of lurk around the wall. We talk about vision incessantly on this stream because it is the core of HotS. Watch how it's played right here. Blaze lurking out of vision, and notice he lurks at this specific spot. This is not an accident, chat, okay? This is not an accident, because Blaze wants to be out of vision. Notice, enemy team can't see him. We're looking from CM's perspective. Blaze can't be seen right now. He's out of vision, but Blaze doesn't have the ability to go over walls. Like, if this isn't a Nubarak, if this is a Muradin, if this is a Urel, and ETC with Crowd Surfer, maybe even, they can sit right here. But Blaze isn't able to go over walls, so he's sitting in a position where he can't be seen, but he's still close enough to be able to jump in on the enemy team. And now Ultralisk is going to move up and try to do the exact same thing, because he can also hide out of vision and jump over walls. So now Ultralisk and Copen are sitting here above this. Copen goes in first, and then Ultralisk goes in right after. This is how you have to be thinking about things. This is how you got to be approaching it from out of vision, looking for the flanks. It's no coincidence that those two heroes are doing that right there. Alrighty, let's see. So then, of course, you have rotational interference right here. Oxygen trying not to let CM get down.
Oxygen have the more aggressive comp, so they just want to sit there and stop killing Mountain rotating if they can. They just want to bully them all game, essentially.
Yeah, their comp is nutty at skirmishing. Comp is nutty at skirmishing. What's up?
What we're going to see a lot this game is Oxygen is going to be winning every skirmish, winning every fight, be ahead on core EXP, but actually be behind on EXP, like throughout the entire game. I don't think they get ahead until near the end.
And there's two big parts of this fight right here that I want you to specifically look out for, chat, okay? So I talked a bit before, Yasuo's a Lucio god, okay? He's able to read enemy Lucios, and he's going to hit a very crucial chastise as part of this fight.
Is that this early?
Yes, it's right here. So we're watching Yasuo on the Anduin, okay? Take a look at him. I'm gonna zoom in nice and solid on him. What the fuck is this Anduin animation? Why is he hitting that? Anyway, so watch Yasuo right here on this Anduin, and watch how Banana tries to go up in his face the same way Yasuo was doing on Lucio all last game, but watch specifically what happens right here. Yasuo's going to go back over towards this left side of the fight. Oh, he hits the chastise onto Lucio right there. Okay, it's actually a little bit later in the game, but he's gonna chastise Lucio all game long because Yasu can read him. And then also, chat, this is going to be a really big part of any time you watch a game where one of the offlaners is global and one of the offlaners is not, all right? So when you have Chili Mountain here, anytime you have a Dahaka, you're at least thinking about threatening the invade onto enemy sappers, with that Dahaka obviously taking a 5v4 and getting a lot of early momentum, early snowball. Copen doesn't allow that 5v4 to happen by rotating down. You can see, even though he's the offlaner, he's here because he knows that Dahaka is a threat, and if he just stays clearing top while Dahaka can Z in, his team just loses. So if you're the offlaner, you have to rotate earlier than the enemy global to get there on time. Alrighty, let me see. Where's my next note right here? 140. Ah, yeah. There's about to be a bit of a skirmish in bot lane. I remember this very clearly. Okay, so guys, Cassia, okay? Real quick right here. Cassia, the big thing is that you're always moving. Okay, you're always moving. If you stop moving, you lose your armor. If you get stunned, you get rooted, all of it just goes away, right away. And so, notably, if Maiev uses her W on you, Umbral Bind, it takes away all your armor. That pull starts with a stun, and it takes away all your armor as she yanks you. And so, the two big things in this 4-man that can get rid of Nick's avoidance, that 30 armor, are Muradin Stun and Maiev W. Okay, Muradin Stun and Maiev W. I want you to think about those two cooldowns while we watch this fight right here. Because look at what happens, okay? Muradin jumps in and misses Stormbolt. So Muradin doesn't have stun to make avoidance go down. And then Nick is already bound by Ultralisk right here. The only thing that can drop his avoidance at this point is if Maev's tether yanks him in. So Nick moves after the tether into 4 people despite being 3v4 here because he knows he has to keep the avoidance up. And like I said, only 2 things can make him drop avoidance, Muradin Q and Maiev W. So now they're 3v4, but Nick knows that he has 30 armor permanently for the rest of this fight, and he just keeps skirmishing. Like, he goes back in on this 3v4 and keeps fighting and even fends in because he has no fear. He knows there's nothing to be afraid of.
Another root on Banana by Yasuo as well.
Yeah, Yasuo just perma-roots Banana, like, every time Banana steps up. It's actually insane, Yasuo.
That initial Maiev tether was actually really insane as well. Because it was on the camp. Like, he didn't just E and then tether the caster. He wasn't able to. He E'd onto the minion wave and tethered the minion wave.
Are you talking about at the very start?
Yeah, at the very start.
Gotcha. I tried to rewind it to show it. Okay, and so then just Cassia, you're gonna note Nick over and over again playing around the enemy team's cooldowns, and as long as the enemy team doesn't have anything that makes him drop avoidance, Nick is just free to fight and win these trades because he's got 30 armor. We talked before how 20 spell armor makes it impossible to fight for the other team. 30 armor, physical and spell armor, is what Cassia has in general. And so right here, Nick kind of oversteps when they do have things that can make him drop avoidance. We see Stormbolt actually lands onto him right here, and then he gets Maiev pulled. At this point, his avoidance is dropping. Notice it goes down to 4, and he's in the middle of the enemy team, so Yasuo just yanks him out. Again, Anduin, by the way.
We're going to see that throughout the entire game, if Nick ever has his armor be dropped, then we're going to see either Anduin pull him, Tyrael will sanct him, Blaze bunk him. Any of those three are always going to be put on him.
And whenever he knows he has his armor, I don't think Maiev immediately stops avoidance only after the pull. Yeah, maybe it's not instant, but it still is a drop of avoidance.
When she micro stuns you from the pull, is when it drops.
Alrighty. Let's see right here. I'm gonna check my notes for the next thing I have to talk about. 240, 335. Oh, I remember this upcoming fight. Yeah, I remember watching this. So not this one right here. There's just a little bit of a scuffle, but I want to point out very specifically the dynamic of the offlaners is actually very important. There's about to be a fight down here in bot lane, but I want you to watch your mini-map, okay? So this is the fight that's getting shown on screen in the CCL broadcast. It's where all the heroes are. But this top lane is actually what matters a whole lot. You see, Dahaka, he knows he's got a global. He's going to go ahead and greed for an extra top wave right here, get his team a little bit closer to level 7, get his team some soak while Copen rotates down. And now Dequaza is going to get some clear right here. And watch what happens. Copen comes up to rotate toward Dequaza as Oxygen is going in, and Dequaza starts fighting Blaze instead of Zing in. Dequaza starts fighting Copen, who actually misses the stun instead of Zing in, and that delays his Z long enough for CM to lose the fight.
Yeah, because CM went in together with the knowledge, hey, we're going to have Dahaka Z. Dahaka Z's as we go in, but no, Dahaka Z was like 5 seconds too late. And because it was 5 seconds too late, Ultralisk just dies before Dahaka's there.
Yeah, because you can see it looks to be some... I don't have their comms available right now, but it looks like you have CM about to go in because they think Dahaka's about to come. And they're so disorganized. CM tries to go in on something, or Ultralisk tries to go in on something, just not able to find it, and then Dequaza shows up. I think that, like definitely I see what you're saying, Ablor. That sounds like comms issue rather than Dequaza. Like, I'm not specifically trying to flame Dequaza here or anything like that, but I do think that Dahaka shouldn't rotate this way. I don't see how that gives him a benefit, because I think that the second you rotate this way, if there's any opposing player there with CC, you're just able to get knocked out of your Z. You're not able to threaten it at all.
Yeah, it's something as Dahaka you have to always think about is, when does my team want me to Z? And in a competitive, in a coordinated team, you can have that conversations even before the game. Like, when are we looking to Z? When are we looking to go in? And in the game as well. You should always be on the same page, knowing when you have to Z. And if you have to Z, you can't be brawling the enemy team at that same time. You have to step out of vision, make sure you're in a position where you can actually join to help the team as they go in.
Yeah, because if you just Z in front of Blaze, you just get jet propulsioned every time. So, like, you just want to step out if possible. And I know CM engaged. That's what I was saying. I'm not sure if there was some confusion right there. It looks like CM thought that they could go in because they didn't realize that Dahaka was unavailable to come. Because you can see them right there trying to look for it. Ultralisk going in, they're trying to play a little bit more aggro. And then, wait, where's Blaze? Okay, here's Blaze, but we already lost the fight. Alrighty, let's see.
And this coming up from Nick is actually going to be really good as well in this fight.
Yeah, right there. So if you noticed... Ooh,
that is what we call a Priz fend. Priz. So what Nick did is he used fend as the enemy is using their escape to chase them even further. Season 1 of CCL, Priz would consistently into Leoric as Leoric is Wraith walking away. As the ghost is like becoming the hero, Priz would fend the Leoric to keep chasing half the screen away.
Yeah, I think he uses it a little bit after the dwarf toss, but what I just want to point out is the fact that he uses it around a corner.
Yes.
Because your range is just the straight line distance from you to that person, so by fending around the corner, he travels a much greater distance in terms of total distance traveled than Fend is usually able to do, because he's using that range around the corner right there. So that enables Nick to just zone so much more aggressively.
Fend works in the exact same way that Varian Charge works, and if anyone's watched this stream before, then you know when Mockery's playing Tracer into a Varian, he's blinking him into the team.
Yeah, you can follow stuff along. And then Varian can also use Charge a similar way. I've seen Zaynhide. Yeah, like for instance, Varian, I don't know if he could do it, this might be too a little comical. Yeah.
If someone's right next to it.
Yeah, say you have Varian right here, and then he Qs and gets a vision of a hero right here. He can charge, because they're in charge range, and just go all the way around. There's similar shenanigans like that. I've seen Zanehide use it to invade enemy bruisers on Battlefield a lot as Varian. It's a similar idea. Let's see right here at 433. My next note is at 520. Alrighty. And so then right here, yeah, I know what's happening. So here we get a little bit of Sapper camp clear in bot lane. Both teams just want to make sure neither team can get their camps off. Ultralisk almost goes down, but that's it. And so then now with the Sapper camps cleared out, the teams actually start to rotate out here and get ready for midwave, because that's going to be the first wave to crash. Midwave is always the first wave to crash because it's the shortest wave of them all. And then once they get it cleared out, Oxygen starts to rotate people up towards top lane. And you can actually see Dequaza pay attention to his map right here. So again, we're going to look at CM's vision. We can see what they saw. So you see members of Oxygen clearing it out, and you see Hasu starting to step up, and Hasu goes up in vision, and you can also see Cassia go up. So if CM's really paying attention, which they should, that's something that teams are going to typically pick up on. They know that Dequaza's got rotations coming to him, and also, even if you don't specifically see that, this is the only thing for Oxygen to contest at the moment. The only things Oxygen are doing are camping out here, maybe setting up position here, or looking for the rotation on this, and you just saw them on your map rotating up. So Dequaza, even though he doesn't see anybody else coming, is about to just walk away right here because he knows he's getting rotated on. Oh, yeah, he's not stepping up into the middle of that minion wave. He's just going over to the bush, and now he knows Oxygen's going to start going back down there. Actually see a 2v1 on Copen, and then right there, I want to point out, I think this is a ping issue from Dequaza. He tries to counter the jet propulsion with Lurker's Train, and if the timing was right, it would have been very good. So watch right here. Copen's gonna jet propulsion away towards safety, and if Dequaza gets the interrupt, he's in danger. Watch, look, right here. When Tahaka pops out of his burrow with Lurker's Train, it does an AoE knockback. And so if he was able to get it just perfectly to knock Copen to the right, Copen would be right here. But of course, ping means it's a lot harder to land that, and he doesn't get the intended interference, and the Tahaka tongue is also... Dude, I tried to play Tahaka and ping when I played in Europe. It's so hard. Oh my god.
Tahaka is hard not on ping, and then you play him on ping, and everything has even longer of a delay. It's rough, it's rough.
Okay, so this is one of the first fights where you can really start to see what I was talking about, where the whole draft is either I am Nick, I am protecting Nick, or I am letting the others protect Nick. All right, Nick is consistently in front of his tank in these fights because he can with this team. So look at where he is. He's in front of Bad Benny this entire time. And then Nick gets storm bolted right here, I want to say. There it is. And watch the response from his team. We said before, as long as Cassia has avoidance, she just fiestas. The second he drops avoidance, look at the response from Oxygen. We see a Sanctification come out from Tyrael, as well as a pull from Anduin. Only one of those needed to happen. Probably the Anduin pull, but both of them come out because they're like, shit, he dropped avoidance, let's go, protect him.
Yeah, so that's an overlap issue, which you fix in comms, and pre-game you discussed, hey, what do we want to use first? Do you want to drop Bunker? Do you want to drop Sanct? Do you want to Anduin pull? And then they always just use that one first and use the other one after. And they hadn't had that discussion this game, clearly. But it's something you always have to discuss with your team.
And so here we see Nick, again, the furthest forward member of Oxygen, walks right into the Stormbolt. And this is such a crazy fight to watch play out, okay? So we're going to watch this at full speed here, starting from that moment where Nick gets stunned, and just witness this. And then we'll break it down.
I'm ready to witness.
He's going to tap over there. He pre-taps. Yeah, he pre-taps. He just used his tap, so even though he's full HP and mana, he's still got a lot more under the hood. And that pre-tap is going to serve them in this fight very, very well. Watch this. There's a lot to talk about that happened in there. Let's go ahead and take a look at that. Okay. I've got it all in my notes right here. Everything lines up so perfectly. Okay. So check it out. We remember that Anduin just pulled Nick, right? Anduin just used his pull. When Nick gets CC'd right here, without having pull, Yasu uses the next best thing, which is Light Bomb. So Muradin stuns Nick, forcing out the Light Bomb response because pull's not available, and so then Muradin, to avoid the Light Bomb, jumps out. And then, now Muradin is an 80% HP Muradin, that has no jump. And so now this fight immediately turns into killing Masquerade. Look at how this goes down, okay? Dequaza tries to tongue over the wall, misses. Ultralisk joins the fight. And remember, we talked about this before in the last game when Bad Benny was lurking over the wall. Whenever a team thinks that they have a free kill, everybody just clumps up, trying to kill that person as fast as possible. And so now this clump happens, and Blaze is able to get in there. And notice Nick's positioning, okay? Nick goes around this corner so that when the Umbral Bind pulls him, it doesn't pull him in. Because he's around this corner.
Against the terrain.
And then
and
again,
you see a Hanzo arrow that's out of vision. Actually, was it out? He has an eye. Maybe it wasn't out of vision, but from over a wall as well.
I'm just curious about it myself. I want to see that Hanzo arrow. We do see Hasuabs just camping in this bush, which is really good here as well. They do see him. Oh, they don't see him right now. I think they're going to see the arrow. Oh! Yeah, he's in vision the whole time.
They see the arrow. But it's still over the wall. There's still a good arrow, I think.
Mm-hmm. So I just want to put out though again, Nick going around that corner right there, that's so huge when you're into heroes that pull you. A lot of times your best way of avoiding an Alarak Telekinesis, a Cassia Umbral Bind is going to be getting around a corner, and then even if they pull you, Kerrigan pull is the same way. It can't pull you around a corner. So Nick's able to stay out of the action, and again, Masquerade does not have his E, because Masquerade E'd out of the Light Bomb, and they're able to return and turn it into a kill. You can just see... What's up?
That's something with Muradin specifically, is when you use your jump, that's your main survivability, right? And if you're not jumping over a wall, then you're essentially slowly walking to a location. You're just moving a bit faster, and you're not accomplishing much. If Masquerade had jumped over the top wall when the light bomb was there, then he actually lives, and I think he's fine. He doesn't just walk back into the fight. Because you can use the wall as like a gap closer, but jumping down, he just kind of like right-clicked down and then moved back up. It was a bit strange.
It's always about just, oh, that person is out of position without their mobility tool, we can kill them. We touched on it exactly with Rehgar. When you bite in as Rehgar, you're in the middle of things with no mobility. And it's the exact same thing even if you're at 80% HP with Muradin. If you E in the middle of combat, then all of a sudden you are a very killable target right there. It was very close, but the crazy play is just shaken out.
And it was very good from Auction to notice that as well. So some CCL teams wouldn't have noticed, oh, he used his survivability, everyone focus him. They would have just like focused whoever they were focusing. They wouldn't have thought about it.
And then we're about to see, once we fast forward again, we're about to see another fight where Nick is just mega far forward, and then they go in on him, and it's just protect Nick, kill Nick. Ah!
Oh, so like the rest of the game, like the entire game.
And so notice Nick fends in right there to prevent getting pulled by the Umbral Bind despite being slowed. And again, the fight starts out with him getting Containment Disc, but he hasn't dropped 30 armor this whole time. Dequaza, that flank though, to catch him out of the pull was so insane. But guys, the thing about Dahaka that sucks into Cassia is that if you drag her, she doesn't lose her armor. If you hold her still, she loses her armor, but she was so far up that Dahaka needed to drag to try to get Cassia away from her team. But again, that preserves that avoidance, that 30 armor on Nick, which isn't dropping except for right now when he has the chance to get in bunker. Literally, so much of these fights revolve around, does Nick actually lose his avoidance or not? And when he doesn't, he's exceptionally hard to kill. Would it have been better to eat the light bomb? I'm really not sure, Ravens. I think that might have been better to just eat the light bomb straight up, and I think that if he was going to E out, it should have gone up. What are you going to say, Cascon?
Yeah, you either eat the light bomb if you can. I don't know if he would have died from it. If he doesn't think he's going to die, then he stays in. But if you're going to jump out, you have to jump over the wall. If you don't jump over a wall, then you probably shouldn't be using Muradin jump at all. Like, you need to... If you watch any top Muradin player, Bad Benny, for example, is a really good one now. Sign and Noblesse were really good during HUC. They always jumped over walls anytime they wanted to get out.
Yeah, it's just, and it's a similar thing with Urels and Anubrax, and that's actually going to be showing up in a later game, is that part of successfully escaping as heroes like Urel and Anubrak and Muradin is when you're running away from people jumping over walls. It's going to come in big in the Tomb of the Spider Queen game, GG versus Diamond Hands, later that we're going to watch over. Let's see. 9:15, insane gank onto top lane. CM knows, yeah, this part is crazy, guys. Look, this This whole thing is so fucking filthy between these two teams, okay? So let's look at this. So guys, one big weakness of Blaze is that he's really weak to getting body blocked. He has a really big hitbox. His only mobility gets stopped by bodies, so he can't do anything into the body block. And watch what happens right here. This is part of Blaze's weaknesses, is that if he's even just like 5 feet out of gate, he's killable, right? And so we're going to see CM, they're stacking up Heroes top lane, they look for Blaze, he gets baited out by the Sapper Camp, they go in on him, Masquerade jumps in to intercept the jet propulsion. Okay?
Yeah, that was really good.
Very good. And so now Copen is way out here, Banana boops him away from gate to box him into this corner, and now Blaze is bunkered, and everybody else moves into position to body block him after bunker. You can see right here, Masquerade keeping him in place as well, but the bunker buys time. The bunker buys time, and notice Copen sinks when he gets out of the bunker, exactly with when the enemy team gets CC'd. So it's totally understandable why CM thought they could pull off that gank on Blaze, but the global assistance from the Hanzo timed with the bunker is just so massive. And then notice, guys, okay, this is a really consistent trend when you've got good HGC, good HotS teams, not HGC. That's a whole different story. Is that as soon as that gank fails by CM on top lane, Oxygen is pushing bot for it. Because they know they have time. They have until CM gets back across the map to just free push. So then they go ahead, they take out these towers, and then before CM has time to get back, they leave.
I think an important thing to point out about that, what happened in top as well, is that people clump all the time, even when you think it's fine to clump. And realistically, it's just bad habits. But with specifically a Hanzo in the game, whenever you're clumping, you are at risk of getting 5-man arrowed. And that's exactly what happened up there. I know they were clumping for a body block, which makes it a bit more okay, but in general, if you're clumping, think about it and think to yourself, hey, we should spread, and then move to spread yourself, maybe tell your team if you're on voice.
Yeah, it's a common thing, it's just one syllable, just, hey, spread, you know, just everybody spreads out, because a lot of heroes take really good advantage of it.
I actually have a cool story about this. Genji's coach, Noblesse, in scrims, his main, the main things he would bring was drafting, but the other thing, most of his coaching was just yelling spread basically every 10 seconds in comms to Genji, who was the best team in the world, so that they would remember, hey, let's not comp. And it kind of got drilled into their brains to like check if they were comped, check to spread every 10 seconds.
And so guys, one thing that we're gonna see a lot this game is specifically this Tyrael build. Okay, I want to point it out from Bad Benny. Not so much the one that's not super common. I see Ardent Restoration a lot with it. But with Sword of Justice, with these E talents, what Tyrael is able to do is zone the enemy backline super hard. And this is just another way of protecting Nick. Because Nick is going to start getting caught, and then every time Masquerade and CM and all them try to go in and punish Nick for getting CC'd because he's frontlining, they can't because their backline is getting bullied by Tyrael and because Yasu is just bullying Banana on this Lucio. Those two factors are going to show up in basically every team fight right here. So let's take a look at this. Let me see. I believe in this fight, before the moment I was watching, we had Tyrael jump in using Sword of Justice on Dino. Yeah, see, look, there it is. He's blinking, he waits for Dino to get close, and Bad Benny has a one-track mind. He goes straight onto Dino and gets a super free damage trade. Look at his HP bar, look at Dino's.
Yeah, so this Tyrael build is really built around diving a backliner, pressing E on them, getting a couple autos, and getting a really good damage trade. You want to deal more damage to them than they deal to you, and then just sword hole out.
It's called Sword Hole, even though it's called Sword of Justice, technically. A lot of people like to call it Sword Hole because it's very similar to Zeratul Wormhole, where it's a tool that allows you to go in, do a bunch of damage, and then just blink right back out. So this way you can bait a lot of cooldowns, you can take a lot of positive damage trades. This build is just OP at trading with backline, just like Cascon said.
I will make an argument that Blizzard should rename the talent to be Sword Hole. Everyone calls it that anyway.
Cav is in my chat taking credit for it. Was originally played with Reciprocate by Breeze. I can see it, yeah. But guys, I just want you to pay attention to how that dynamic is going down. Because again, everything is centered around, can they punish Nick for overstepping? Or can Nick just get crazy damage on the front line enabled by his teammates? And Bad Benny's damage that he's going to do in these backlines is just another form of enabling Nick. Dude, these tongues from Dayquaza are kind of
So
painful to watch.
Ultras is just getting chunked and has to disc for himself because Bad Benny goes in and he's actually gonna kill him if the disc doesn't come out.
Like, let's take a look at just this free backline pressure. And also, it's another thing worth pointing, Maiev wants teams to clump, and if Tyrael's in your backline, he's not clumping with his team. It promotes a much more spread playstyle right there. And so we see Bad Benny able to jump in on Ultralisk and just absolutely bully him, forces the disc just like you said. And there's the ISO coming out, that's really weird. Ooh, this fight is so ugly. Ooh, that's a really big chastise from Yasu on the side. He's gonna be fine. Yeah, and they just zone out for the turn-in completely. CM is just completely stymied every time Bad Benny steps into their backline, and Yasu just always catches these flanks with chastise. Ooh, is this the big chastise moment that we saw earlier? Oh!
I think it is.
Yasu with these reads, dude, is actually just insane. Catches Masquerade mid-dwarf toss right there, and then I think another one is coming up.
I think it's here. I think it's right here.
All right, chat, look at this, okay? Yasu, Lucio God, he knows what Lucio players want to do. Look at this read. Watch him right here.
Ooh. Oh. Ooh.
Ooh. Damn, Yasu. Yasu chastises Banana right there, getting the free pick onto the Lucio. Yeah, but then because they gang up on Lucio, again, this is something that we talked about before. Just every time there's pressure in one area, the team that's getting pressured tries to pressure something else. Okay, so there's this outplay onto Banana right here, and this is part of why I miss a lot of kills when I cast Masters Clash, because they always fight in multiple areas.
No, you were just making excuses. No,
because look, so Banana's getting 4v1, right? So at the same time, you can go in on Copen, and they go in on him right here. Copen, what he wants to do is bunker over this wall, but he fails. And there is some really good tech that I think would have saved Copen.
If he had gone into that corner, would he have lived? If he could bunker over the wall?
So chat, I'm planning on making a YouTube video about this later. There's a tech that I think is fucking insane that I discovered recently, where if Blaze goes right here, okay, into this corner, and he shoves his face in, and then he pops bunker, the bunker comes out over here, over the wall, with Blaze inside it. It is an absolutely filthy angle that you can do to invade, to escape, and you can do it in a ton of situations. No, dude, this angle is fucking filthy, dude. I fully intend to make a YouTube video about it later. Insane. Yeah, you walk into this corner, you bunker, boom, you're over here now. Not even kidding. So you can use that. If Copen does that right here, if he goes in this corner, he escapes every time. And then chat, there's another angle on this exact map. If you go here as Blaze and you bunker pops out over here, under this fort. And so that means you can invade. Yeah, it's because there's not enough area for bunker, so it puts it in the closest area that bunker can go. That means that you can go here if you're invading the enemy team's mid fort and you want to dive them. You go over here, you bunker, boom, bunker's over the wall. It's now tanking fort for your team, and Blaze is now under your fort. And I'm sure there's a lot of shenanigans you could do with Loot Horde, but I have been experimenting with this Blaze tech recently, and I think it's an actual game changer. I think that when Blaze players learn how to abuse this technique that I discovered recently, they're going to start fucking bawling on people, dude. As if Blaze wasn't already good enough. You know, as if he wasn't already good enough. But Blaze absolutely escapes this if he goes there and bunkers.
I actually feel inclined to mention here as well. It's not like Banana is bad on Lucio, right? Banana is arguably the second best Lucio in the world. But Yasu is so good on the hero and has played so much of it, he knows exactly what good Lucios are looking to do. And then he's always going to punish that. Anytime they're stepping up, he knows where they're going to be. He knows what he can do.
Let me see right here. I'm looking at my notes for the next play for us to talk about. so Cascon, my note for 1210 is nutty read by Yasu on enemy Lucio, and then my next note is another insane read by Yasu. Oh my god, dude.
This player is cracked. He's insane at the game.
Yeah, he's actually nutty. It's like, and that's the thing, dude. When someone is playing a character that you have a lot of experience on, you can read them super fucking easy. Like when I play against Tracer players, I'm like, I feel like Ron Swanson in Home Depot when he's like, I know more than you. You know what I mean? like I see Tracer players come up and I'm like, okay, I know how many blinks you have. I know what you're gonna want to recall. I know what this build does. Someone playing your main against you, it like really gives you an opportunity to just flex your counterplay because you know everything the guy's gonna do.
It's like every time I play against Malfurion, I know as soon as he's too far up, and I just tell the team to dive. Oh my god. Oh, ignore that thought. Look at that through. Jesus Christ. He's fucking insane. Sorry for swearing.
No, I got you. He's insane, dude. Oh my god. Look at this. Banana H comes in and Yasu just reads the push-off play perfectly. Banana is pushing off, trying to boop these guys towards his team, and just gets fucking rooted. And then that sets up the easy arrow. He takes a bunch of damage. He still gets out, but that's still an amazing situation for Oxygen now.
And even what Bad Benny was doing there, he was bullying Dino once again. He queued on Dino so he couldn't step up.
And notice, just like before, when Dahaka drags Cassia, she's got all of her armor because she's moving. And so all he had to do was just receive the light bomb. And even though they got a disc into drag on Cassia, you just get the light bomb, and then now she's got the AoE stun and the 30 armor, and she's not going down. Literally, this whole game is about going in on Cassia or protecting Cassia.
Dahaka is really bad into Cassia just because of that. It's not good.
Murden is healing static at 13.
For level 4, is he the second W?
He is Thunderburn, yes, so second W. So he gets double healing value.
That's fine then. I think it's still technically worse, but if you take healing static, you need the level 4, so.
Yeah, there's just so much synergy there. 1430. Okay, so we're again gonna see Bad Benny. Look, he just used Wormhole right there, Sword Hole, to just bother the enemy backline, and he's just gonna keep doing that.
Yeah, this is the story of the game. Like, everyone in 2 months like, oh, I guess I have to back now. This Tyrael is bullying me.
Yeah, and Dino, it's funny because Dino also played it and also got to bully. We see right here Bad Benny. And also Bad Benny is going to use Sword Hole to tank tower shots quite a few times, which extends his team's pushes by significant amounts of time. Let me see, where is my next note right here? It is 14:45. My next note is at 15:15.
Oh, yeah. It's coming up soon.
Nah, it's nothing crazy. We see the disc. Yep, that's just a classic.
Good
you know,
pull.
You just pull him out as soon as he gets pull comboed right there. Both teams want their sappers to go in, so it forces out a bit of a clash here in bottom. Yeah, that's all I really had for my note for there. And then check this out, guys. Look at how low this fort is. I think CM doesn't realize, potentially to an extent, that this just isn't safety. Right here. You can't count on this fort to save you when you have a Tyrael that's going to be aggressively in your backline, because keep in mind, his Q teleports are a disjoint. So even if he has tower aggro, when he Qs in, he can dodge a shot, and when he Qs out, he can dodge a shot as well. And this fort is super killable, so they just don't actually have the safety that I think they're playing as if they do. Because look at how
playing as though this fort is it's like it's full health, but there's 3 sappers walking in, and you have heroes who can all dive, and bunker is up.
They're trying to get the sappers. They do get the clear. It's more about what's about to happen right here. All 3 sappers go down, but then look at this. They just start getting dived. Bad Benny's just tanking the fort. He doesn't give a fuck.
Bad Benny goes in on the backline, gets a kill, probably because of this build. Actually, that's a good inside the CCL question.
Wait, what's your question?
Does that kill happen because of Bad Benny's talent build? And that would take us like 5 to 10 minutes to look at, right? So I'm not going to do that, but I'm going to get Cav too.
Yeah, and I mean, we all know Bad Benny is just like the talent god. No,
so I mean, before watching and analyzing these games, I didn't have much respect for this build, but definitely I do now, seeing how he's getting value of trading health bars with people.
Yeah. No, it's just the ability to pressure the backline is so massive right here coming in. So team or chat, of course, I just want to point out Oxygen, when they get that pick off, it's super free to steal these sappers. And at this point, CM just needs to protect against these sappers. If Dino ate that Dragon Arrow, he just dies. And the game is just 100% over at that point. So that was a worthy play by Oxygen. And then now all they have to do is really rotate up. They're still down EXP despite having the massive core health leap. Like you were talking about earlier. Let me see here. Ah, yeah, I remember this one. I was like, what happens in this fight? And then I was like, oh yeah, Yasu hits another fat chastise.
In defense of Banana for this one, I think the chastise was aimed towards the Dahaka, and Banana was just there.
Okay, so we're looking at...
It wasn't trying to outplay.
We're looking at Yasu here. Yasu, yeah, he tosses the chastise at Dahaka, and I think Banana just runs into it. Oh, yeah. No!
Oh, that's right at the end.
Yeah, and then at that point, so notice, guys, notice what happens here, because I spoke before how the general trend of these fights is Nick gets caught, and then CM is unable to punish because one of two things is happening. Either Anduin's hitting a nutty chastise, or Tyrael's pressuring their backline. And both of those things are going to be so massive right here in this fight, because watch this, okay? So watch. There are two specific things happening. Nick gets caught, but Lucio gets chastised at the same time, so he can't help. He can't help. Watch this. Okay, look. Yasuo lands big chastise, and then watch Nick right here. Nick is clumped with Hasu into Maiev, and they go in on Nick, but Banana H can't follow up. Banana H is running away because of how low he is after the chastise, at the same time that Muradin is jumping this wall, trying to go in. And so now they want to blow up Nick, but Dino's too far away to follow up. Dayquaza's up here, and Banana H is running away because he's low HP. So even though they caught out Nick and they were able to reset his avoidance, they can't actually kill him.
Did Nick use Fend to keep up his 30 armor? Even during the Maiev pull?
That might be what it was, because he did it earlier, so I'm watching Nick now. There's the Umbral Bind. Yeah, and so this is the same thing Nick did before when he was slowed and wasn't able to manually walk towards the Maiev to prevent the Umbral Bind. He fended in. He did this bot lane to keep his 30 armor from avoidance up, and he did it again right here. Ultralisk is about to pull him because he's slowed, presumably by heavy impact from Muradin, not Skullcracker, but still even Muradin's W, his Thunderclap, is still a slow, and Nick is about to get yanked, so he fends in to preserve his 30 armor. He does, of course, get stunned right after. But with this just complete chaos on the side of CM, thanks to that disruption, Nick has enough time to get the Light Bomb Shield and get in bunker. Yeah, and then it's a big tongue, but it's again on to Cassia!
Yeah, tonguing at Cassia, you can't kill her unless you just stand still. It doesn't work.
Because at this point, Dayquaza doesn't have teammates, so Nick is mega low, and he hits this Sanct because he just barely slips out of Sancts, or he hits the tongue. And then look.
Can you imagine if that's a Valla who gets tongued? That Valla's dead every time.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And so then, now at this point, watch. Look, Chastise, Nutty Chastise as always from Yasu. He hits those on CD. Bad Betty's going to start bullying Lunara here. Check this out. This is very important. So Bad Benny's continuing to chase Dino, and then he's going to go right back in on Dino in just a moment, if I remember this fight correctly.
Yeah, it's soon. Yeah. When he goes back to the wave.
Dino's gonna go into mid lane and get jumped. See, look, a stun onto Cassia, she's fine. They don't have the follow-up to kill him. He gets pulled in, but look at Dino. Look at Dino while all this is happening. They want to pressure Nick off of the stun. They caught Nick on a stun. Shouldn't they be able to kill him? Well, not if there's a Tyrael in your backline. Look at this Bad Benny play, okay? Look, Nick gets stunned and he just insta dives Dino. And look at Dino's HP now. And there it is 2 hits later. And so Dino is completely forced out, and Bad Benny zones him all the way past his gate, and then just blinks out without even taking any tower shots.
And Dino's healer is a Lucio. It's not like it's the best sustained healing in the game. So any poke is so much more important when the healer doesn't have big sustain. Like a Mouth, it doesn't matter anywhere near as much into, because he just presses Q and you're back to the health you were before. But a Lucio, it's rough.
And so Dino doesn't have tap. It's 8 seconds away. And so Dino's just stuck on this HP. And then that maybe wouldn't be the end of the world, but look at what happens right here. Remember, Dino's very low HP. And his healer gets dragon arrowed and dies. Now Dino's just fucked. And so he just has to back out.
That was good from Masquerade to jump over the wall. If he had just jumped to the right, then he could have been gone on.
And so now Dino's back on the scene trying to get the stall with Thornwood Vine, but it's just too much. And at this point, Oxygen forces boss.
The healer's dead, so Oxygen just forces boss. That was a very good bullseye. Nearly a very good stun chain.
I wonder if somebody trolled on that. Actually, hold on. Let's
The
take
light
a
bomb
look.
was a bit late.
Let's see.
The light bomb needs to be as soon as Blaze starts, is he?
We're watching this from Oxygen's vision perspective. Murden's in that bush. They find Murden. The oil scouts him. Bullseye
He's not
also.
in range for a light bomb. That's the problem.
So then we see jet propulsion. Oh, is Chastise late? Oh,
Yeah,
Chastise is late.
Anduin wasn't in position, so Roots
think so?
and light bomb were both late. Yeah.
Let me see.
He
Let me
was further
see.
to the left.
Yeah, I wasn't watching Yasu. So here's Yasu. The Chastise just barely doesn't hit. Oh, yeah, he was running way over there. And so he gets into range. And Murden, look how close this is. This Chastise right here is the projectile.
Yeah, if Yasu was just
That is
slightly
so
closer,
close.
that Muradin dies every time.
Yeah, Ping honestly could have definitely been a part of that. Because he starts moving towards it faster if he's not on Ping and he casts it faster. But then at this point, it's 5v4 for Oxygen. They can force
Yeah,
boss.
still
CM
really
has to
good.
stop it.
Dino shows that Benny stops running, knowing I can bully you.
Yep. He just sprints at him every time he gets the chance. And then at this point, CM just wants to take a fight, but Oxygen is so split. Like, I really think the value of Tyrael being able to split from his team as much as he wants makes Maev's job like 10 times harder.
And once again, Umbral Bind and Stormbot will both use, so Cassia just ran it down in the back line, and there's nothing they can do. If your CC is down, then Cassia is able to do whatever she wants.
It's fucking scatter, dude. I just want to rewind to watch the scatter right here at the end of the fight from Hasu.
On the Lunara?
Yeah, what, right here, right here.
Oh. You've
And then
bullied him
that's just
enough in the
game.
game, and now you're just like, oh. Good tank. Hit the bullseye even.
I feel like the average person watching that doesn't understand how much that game centered around Nick. And, like, everything that went into it. It was so huge, dude. Holy shit. And then we look at the scoreboard, and he doesn't even die the whole time. Literally melee Cassia. Like, that just shows what you can do when you have complete trust in your draft and your team. You can just go full auto attack Cassia and just in the front line and just trust your teammates to keep you up. It was a similar principle to why main tank Tychus worked. You know?
So actually, both deaths from Oxygen, Blaze could have avoided it if he had bunkered over the wall, if he had known that tech. Bad Benny just wanted trait value, so both deaths are fine.
I don't even remember the Benny death.
Well, he just wanted trait value, clearly. I don't remember either.
Totally.
But let's just say trait value.
Yeah. Alrighty, let's see. So I believe that was a 3-0 sweep for Oxygen. And next up is for us to talk about GG versus Diamond Hands. We're still going a little slower than I'd like, but after taking an hour for the first game, only taking 2 hours, 20 minutes for all 3 games is a significant improvement. Let's go ahead and take a look at the Granite Gaming versus Diamond Hands series that was also played